Buddy, welcome to the show. I'm here. Amy's here. Hi, Ames.
How's it going?
Pretty good. What are you doing?
Nothing. What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm not doing nothing.
Neither am I.
I thought you were looking down at something or reading something or listening to something, which wouldn't surprise me at all, knowing you. Totally preoccupied. Like, no, dude, I'm listening to another show while we record. What's the problem?
No, I'm listening to. I have jury duty going in one ear, and I'm doing the podcast in the other.
Are you serious?
No.
No. Okay, I was like, I wouldn't put it past you. You multitasking people are my biggest. Like, I hate you people that can do that because I can't.
I wouldn't be able to process anything that was happening in that if I actually had to talk and.
Yeah, totally. I had another day. We'll get to the news as much as we can, but I had a situation where I had to go to the dentist for my checkup for the tooth. They did the surgery and everything.
Yeah.
And dude, I was so fucked up. Like the other day we were talking about, like, send me to the moon, man. Just put me on another planet. And all I remember, the good doctor there was like, yeah, I need to see you back in a week. So a week from today or whatever it was, Wednesday, Thursday. And just check the situation and, make sure everything's okay. I'm like, all right, great. And I knew everything was because it feels pretty good for a week out.
Yeah.
And I get there and they're like, yeah, you want the gas and this. And dude, I am like shorts. I'm ready to walk in. They're like, and he tells me 15 minutes in and out. You'll be in and out. No big deal.
Well,
and I'm like,
that was your first mistake, Mike.
Yeah, right. I'm like, yeah, no problem. 15 minutes in and out. I can do that. So I didn't prep this morning. I'm like, I got to go to the dentist kind of early. I'll have enough time when I get home to put something together, but I'm only going to be there 15 minutes anyways. I get there, they're like, all right, we got the gas ready for you. And then I'm like, what? Wait a minute. What are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, we're doing the whole bottom deep cleaning today. And I was like, I thought I was just here to check and they're like, well, we could reschedule if you didn't want to do it. And I'm like, well, I'm already fucking here. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Dude,
Mike, nobody in the history of ever has only been at the dentist for 15 minutes.
Right. But in this case, I agree with you. But in this instance, it was like, we just want to check the work, make sure everything's good. Like there's a process to what I'm going through. So they're like, hey, why don't you pop by 15, 20 minutes? His words were 15, 20 minutes. You're out of here. It's no big deal. Just check the work. Well, there's a whole team of people and I've got other stuff going on. So I didn't think anything of it. And I'm just like, okay, I could do that. And then I don't know, maybe it's better. I had no idea. But the plan was like, we want to do this like super deep cleaning on everything. I'm sure a lot of you have had this. But still I guess I'm going to the moon
Mike's
today.
A big pussy.
Yeah, so are you. Fuck off. So are you.
No, super false. I am not.
What? I thought you loved the gas.
Well, I do, but that's just because of my personality. Well, I like
what's the difference?
I like feeling good. I'm not like a pussy. I can do it without it. I mean, not like major, but I
could have done without it, probably. No. I just hate any dental procedure. I think I'm in the vast majority.
For me, it's just like an excuse to do legal drugs. That's why I like it.
Yeah, totally. But I get anxious too. It's not like, oh my God, I can't do this. But she was so sweet. She like held my hand. She's like, all right, it's going to be all right. You're going to be all right. And I'm like, oh man, she was great. But dude, so the other day I was like numb from here to my eyeballs on both sides. This time I'm numb like this. I can't hear anything. And I'm like, I got to do a show. Like I can't. People are going to fucking kill me if I don't. And I'm like, I wasn't planning on this. Like, what do I do? Dude, I've been just like pulling stories together. Like I have to do something. Finally, this wore off like a half hour ago.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's see what we do. Yeah. Dude, I was trying to eat. You should see me eating.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to eat
it's just
like an hour and a half ago. Hilarious.
Yeah.
It was like the old Bill Cosby. Dude, it's like falling on my face. And it's like the Bill Cosby sketch. God, I love that guy. What happened to him, by the way?
I don't know. think he's
I miss
in
him.
a jail cell
But
with Diddy somewhere.
yeah.
Is he in jail actually, or did he get out?
No, he's out now. I think he's out now.
That was a whole
He's got
lot
that
of
wonky eye.
whole lot of
Hold on.
to do over nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just like, get out of here, you.
Yeah.
We've seen enough of you. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And so he just mows it out. But look at our teeth. Look how clean they are. It's great.
Yeah, they're just sparkling.
Yeah, you can't see it.
Sparkling, Mike.
Jerk.
No.
But you know what else happened today? And
Jim Irsay died.
Huh?
Jim Irsay died.
No, did he really?
Yeah, I just saw it right before we logged on.
The Colts owner?
Yeah. The Pacers announced it before their game tonight.
The Pacers did?
Yeah, they said that they were.
That was a childhood friend of Drew's.
I know.
That's great. Dude, you should hear the off-air stories of Jim Irsay.
I can only imagine. The on-air ones are pretty entertaining. I can only imagine the off-air ones.
Yeah, they were kind of fucktards together.
Sounds like it.
In Chicago, in that area. Yes. But that's funny. I was texting with Drew earlier. He obviously didn't know about it. He didn't even say anything. But
it was like 10 minutes ago it broke.
He's got one of the sickest collections, guitar collections. Like he's got Jerry Garcia's Tiger guitar. He's got like he had an insane collection. I don't know what happens to it now, but
his family
I think what's that? Yeah, his family. I don't know what his whole family situation is, but he had kind of a rough go. I mean, he was fucked up for quite a few years, big alcoholic, I think, and addict levels. But wow, I didn't see that coming. Was that has to be kind of a surprise. I don't remember ever hearing like Jim Irsay. I mean, he's not a picture of health.
Well, that's just it. I think he's had a few medical episodes over the last few years. I feel like I'm remembering rehab, maybe.
Probably.
I feel like I'm also remembering a stroke, although I might be totally making that up. But I feel like, he's not been a picture of health. But not anything like he's on his deathbed type of thing.
Yeah, no, certainly not. And I still... I mean, this is the first I'm hearing about it, so I haven't looked at anything. But I feel like recently there's
permission to look at my phone, Mike.
Sure, there's been like day-to-day operations involving the Colts and what's going on in off-season stuff. I feel like he's been a part of. Yeah, not that someone can't just expire. I mean, there was a moment when I was on the moon today that I thought this might go south. I could die right here. So that thought crossed my mind. So it does happen. But yeah, what are you finding? What are you seeing? Is that save me all the Tapas stuff?
Yeah, well, I know.
I don't care about weirdos who never met Jim Irsay giving, oh my God, my thoughts and prayers are with you. Speaking of thoughts and prayers, by the way, while you're looking at that, I got the strangest message saying I don't know what to do with it. Well, I do know what I'll do with it. I do know what I'll do with it, and this is more of one of those questions, Ames, of like, so you won the lottery. What are you going to do with the money? Like one of those. Mm-hmm. But our listeners never cease to amaze, man. And one of them was like, I got to be careful. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But it was like, roundabout way, I know the Pope's brother. Here's his email.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay, could we get the Pope's brother on this show and fucking talk? Like, would that be like sacrilege?
No, but I think that you have to kind of wait. You have to wait out the the immediate. You have to wait for the newness of the Pope to wear off. You know what I mean? Because he's going to be a little bit more reserved, and he might not want to do interviews right now because he was caught calling Nancy Pelosi a cunt. So like, I feel
but I've
like
done that. We could bond over that. No,
I know, but he said, maybe I'll be a little bit more reserved now that my brother's the Pope. So maybe he's just going to like lay low for a couple months while his brother gets his footing. And then, he's not in the news anymore and he can go run his mouth again.
Well, maybe the smart thing to do, because you're kind of professional, right? Stonehenge as you are, you're like, if you asked people like, what's the professional level at the show? It would be like, well, I'll defer to Amy on this one. She's been in more of those settings. My history is well documented. Easus, I used to have booked my interviews, which looking back, it would be fun to go through his hard drive and just see what kind of absolute retarded messages he sent to people all over the world requesting interviews. But there's no way. I just gave up. It was like, what? I'm not going to spend my time, fact checking, spell checking, punctuation checking, a very, very close to special needs individuals booking skills. So maybe the best thing to do is be like, hey, Ames, word this however you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe that's the best way to do it, is to share it with you. And, I kind of feel like strike while the iron's hot. In some sense, like, wasn't he just at the White House? I think Trump invited him to the White House.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Maybe is he like I wonder if he's a sports fan. Maybe we need to establish a relationship with him, like outside of him being the Pope's brother. Like,
dude,
let's talk about
all three of us have called Nancy Pelosi a cunt. Like, we already have a bond.
Yeah. And what if he thinks Karen Reed is innocent?
Right. I don't know where he stands on that. Don't fuck this up, man.
I'll ask him in my initial email.
No, you won't. You probably would, you weirdo.
Hello, Pope's brother. I'd love to talk to you about Karen Reed.
Yeah. That'd be, I'd love to know, like, not that I care, but I can imagine Catholic people. God, I wish that guy that was a priest still listened.
How do you know if I could remember? Mike?
Oh, he could. He might, but I doubt it. But like, what is that appropriate? Is that totally inappropriate? I don't know. Because I'd want to know, like, what's that like when you find out, like, holy shit, the smoke went up and it's what?
Yeah.
Him?
Yeah. Right.
Like, that would be so wild. Can you say blasphemous things in front of people like that? Like, if you drop a GD
I know,
or
that's
something.
What I want to know. That's what I want to know.
But I don't want to be disrespectful.
You have to edit yourself at Christmas dinner?
Yeah, like bigly you would probably.
I would think.
Wouldn't that be fun though?
Yeah, it would.
See if can you imagine, dude? I would ask like if this friendship grows, obviously it should. If it grows, what are the odds that Amy and I will cover our own freight? But if we wanted to go to the Vatican and just say hi, like, what are the odds we can make? Like, dude, Mike Lindell. Next thing I know, I'm in the my Pillow factory.
Right. Next thing you know,
hanging out with Mike Lindell,
performing a miracle in Vatican City. Who knows?
Can you imagine? Like knuckle bump with
One's
the Pope?
Performed on you.
Yeah. Be kind of crazy. But anyways, something, I mean, I went to the moon today and then this. So yeah, we'll see. Wow. We'll have to see. But it's funny because we were talking about it yesterday when Henson was here and you were reading his like tweets or whatever they were. And it's like, yeah, okay. I kind of like the Pope's brother.
Yeah, he sounds cool.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Some other stuff going on in the world today. Jake
Mike,
Tapper.
just I want to just close the circle on Jim Irsay. He passed away peacefully in his sleep this afternoon.
Really?
Sounds like maybe he just laid down for a nap and.
How old is he?
Let me see what this says. 65.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, he looked
Drew's
much
age,
older
probably.
than that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. No, I was going to call into question Drew's stories. If it was like 78 years old, it was going to be like, wait a minute. 5-year-old Drew hanging out with a 20-year-old. Like, wait a minute. That would have been really weird. But,
right.
Yeah. I wonder if there's more to that story. That's a weird age to take a nap and not come back.
Yeah. I mean, it happened to my dad at 52. So I don't know.
Did it really? He took a nap?
Happens. Well, I mean, he was just laying down because he didn't feel good and he died.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Who
but
knows? Maybe
rare.
he's like, oh shit, I don't feel good. I'm going to go lay down. I think it happens quite a bit. People just, they're sick. And
Mike Clark.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike Clark went to bed. Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate way to go, honestly.
Best way to go.
But 100%. There's like no question. That's
no
the
question.
way you want to go.
No question.
Yeah. Still, you would think, I don't know. I have this weird, and it's probably not right. Jay used to get mad at me all the time about it, like putting people on pedestals, because of who they are, what they are. When you think of like overwhelming wealth, like Jim Irsay would have multi-billionaire, owns an NFL franchise, his family. You would, like, I like to think, like, if I had even just a little bit more than what you should, 100%, I've got a chef on staff making sure that I'm eating properly. I would absolutely have a doctor, whether on a Dr. Feelgood level or like make sure I'm staying in, some proximity of health.
Shape.
Yeah, like you would think that's why the Biden story doesn't add up. You think like you're going to have the world's preeminent staff, like any world-class leadership would have on hand. I expect that of a country of 300,000. Whoever's in charge of those 300,000 has world-class, whatever their version of world-class, care around them. And, maybe it's wrong. Maybe Jim Irsay doesn't want anything to do with anyone in the medical field. He might be as horrified of them as I am, scared of them almost. But I'd be like Michael Jackson. I'd have a dude next door like, what do we need? What do we need?
It didn't work out. It didn't work out so well for Michael Jackson. So maybe Jim Irsay did have one of those guys. But you know what I was just thinking? Aren't they at the owners' meetings right now? I mean, they were there voting on the tush push today. They were voting on. So doesn't that they were probably at owners' meetings? So like, did he die at the owners' meeting?
Yeah, I don't know. Or he was under the weather and didn't go.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. Interesting. My guess is there's more to that story, though. Just off, maybe you're totally right, and you obviously have personal experience with something like this. But that just, I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm sure we'll get more information as time goes on.
Yeah, the NFL owners meeting was today.
It was. Does it say if he was there? Because you said at first he died at home.
Did I say he was at home or did I say?
I thought he died peacefully at home.
Oh.
I thought that's what you led with.
Oh, I wasn't sure if it was peacefully at home or peacefully in his sleep.
Oh, maybe you said peacefully in his sleep. Well, yeah. Something like that.
Now you're making me question myself.
Yeah, that's what we do
Hang
here.
on, let me see. Passed away peacefully in his sleep this afternoon.
Yeah, on a couch at the owners' meeting. That would be a detail worth including, right?
Yeah.
Died peacefully in his sleep,
during a nap at the owners' meeting.
In front of 31 close friends. Like,
right. And the tush push didn't get banned because Jim Irsay died and he didn't get to vote.
Yeah, it was 16 to 15 or something. The vote.
Lions voted.
What was the other thing, Aim, that they were talking about? The Lions had a couple that, as far as social media goes, people loved.
Yeah, they withdrew it.
What?
They withdrew it at the last minute today. The Lions did. It sounded like it was going to pass. I don't know why they withdrew it.
Again, what were they calling for?
It was calling for the seeding for the playoffs. So whoever has the best record gets a home game. Like, it's not just based on, your
division
bullshit weak ass division. Right.
Right.
So
there was another one too. There was another one. I thought the Lions had a couple that most people thought were really good. They withdrew that one specifically.
They withdrew that one. That was the only one I think that made it to today to vote on.
Yeah, this is totally on the spot. I just can't remember. There were a couple. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Do you care about the owners' meetings?
I mean, that's where things happen, I guess. But they also said they changed a rule that a team can onside kick at any point during a game if they're losing.
Do you have to tell the other team?
I think
so.
Well,
I guess you would. Yeah.
Which is still still bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah, because those surprise onside kicks, I believe, didn't Irsay's team either did that or was victim of that in the Super Bowl? Wasn't that the Colts Bears one where there was a surprise onside kick to start like the second half?
Oh no, I feel like that was like New England or something. I don't know.
They might have done it too, but I want to say the Colts did that. I could be wrong. Yeah, you're right though. That's where you're going to get stuff through when the owners decide. So, well, that's weird. I'd like to know more about the Lions, why they withdrew that, because of all the suggestions that were coming in, because each team, I think, made suggestions on possible rule changes, that one, like nationally, took hold and people were like, yes, about time.
Yeah.
I thought the Lions had a couple in there that people really liked, but I just don't remember. Anyways, football season can't get here fast enough. I'll just say that. I am ready to be done with Jake Tapper.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Dude. It's going to take...
I do want to read that book, though.
I know,
it sounds like there's going to be some good tea in there.
Yeah. So
then again, aren't we just kind of already hearing all the tea? Maybe I don't need to read it.
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of these books. You know, it's like if you do it right, it's great. If you do it like a movie preview, where I've just stopped watching movie previews, where it's like, yeah, I know exactly what happens in this movie now, based on 60 seconds of teaser.
Right.
So what do we know now? There's like 4, it might be up to 5 books now coming out on that decline of Joe Biden. So I don't know which ones are which, but the one where they were talking, that might be Jake Tapper's book called Original Sin. Mm-hmm. He wrote with the Axios reporter that talks about the putting down like highlighter tape to show them where to walk when they would go to a house or somewhere. He'd like get lost going from the living room to the kitchen. They'd leave breadcrumbs for him, like insane stuff like that.
Breadcrumbs.
I mean, it's basically what they were doing. Yeah. Yeah. What we'll find is there's probably nuggets in there that the rest of the people won't pick up on or care that much about, that we'll be like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like there was a guy that had to go in and flush the toilets, make sure the toilets were flushed after every time he went to the bathroom because he'd forget. It's not part of the conversation, but we're very interested in it. But yeah, Jake Tapper.
What I object to almost more than Jake Tapper is all of the media conglomerates now going, I can't believe we didn't see this. And Congress needs to do something so this doesn't happen again. And it's like, want to know how this would have been prevented? You motherfuckers telling the truth. That's
doing
how
your
this
job.
could have been prevented. Because
Which is your job.
Right. It is your job. You guys were propagandists for 8 years.
Yeah. I'm glad you said 8 years and not 4. Because I'm seeing a lot of people do that, and that pisses me off just as much. Yeah. Because if you're one of those people that bought Jake Tapper's reporting on all this stuff, you probably bought COVID, hook, line, and sinker. Yeah. You probably bought Russiagate, hook, line, and sinker. It's no different.
Right.
Hunter Biden's laptop, it's no different.
Right. Shit, it's probably been 12 years. It's since Trump came down that escalator.
15.
They've been propagandists.
So it's 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it started on that. It started on that. There's fine people on both sides is what Joe Biden ran based on. That's why he couldn't stand for this. So it started based on the lie, and then it got tenfold worse 30 minutes later when he came down the golden escalator. And the idea was that Mexicans are rapists and murderers.
Right.
They still say that.
Right.
As if that's what was said. So these people here, like, listen to this interview. I just titled it "Shitbag on Shitbag." Katie Couric, and so she's got both authors. I'm saying, Alex Thompson, Axios reporter. Just listen to these people.
How big a factor was the Hunter?
Talking about Hunter Biden.
I think it was considerable. I think Hunter was driving the decision making for the family in a way
The people.
Do you?
He was almost like a chief of staff of the family.
Does that strike you as pretty bizarre?
It's bizarre because I think he is provably, demonstrably unethical, sleazy, and prone to horrible decisions. I mean,
tell me how you really feel.
Well, I mean, I'm just look at the record. I mean, after his brother died, he cheated on his wife with his brother's widow, and then got her addicted to crack. That's just one thing I could say. I mean, I don't have.
Yeah, but Jake, you didn't.
Right.
Do you not see the problem here?
What was Jake's position on the laptop? Just out of curiosity. Russian disinformation? I'm going to assume that was his position.
Probably, or we just don't know. We're just clueless. We don't have any idea what any of that stuff is. But this is just one thing you could say.
Odd? Does it strike you as odd? No, it shouldn't strike you as fucking odd because we all saw it, except you people, apparently.
Yeah, and they did see it. They did know it. That's the crime in this.
I don't have a lot of personal regard for him, and just based on having nothing to do with, I barely have ever met him. Like once or twice. But I knew Bo.
Me either.
Bo was
Jake,
great, upstanding guy.
I knew him too. Really,
a real loss for the country too,
cool.
Not just for his family, for the country. But Hunter is not that, and the idea of letting him drive the family car, as it were, is just really, really questionable.
Yeah, there's also reports now, Jake, you're not going to believe this, that he was essentially the chief of staff for the last 4 years. Right. So if you think it was a problem, him driving the family car, essentially, how about driving the country?
Right.
That crackhead.
It's just so maddening because the way they presented him was just, he's just a private citizen. He's never done any shady business dealings that involved me and Burisma or in China and they fucking just straight up gaslit you. And made you seem like you were insane. Like Tony Bobolinsky was insane for coming out and going, no, hello, I've got all the receipts. And people were like, no, he's just a private citizen. It's fine. Oh, and now he's going to become an artist and he's going to sell all of his paintings, but we're not going to know who's buying them. And it has nothing to do with influence because he's just a private citizen.
Yeah. Last I checked, he's not running for president. Why are we even talking about this?
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah,
that whole thing?
Yes.
Here's just a small taste
Kari,
of the gaslighting.
The right wing is going crazy with all sorts of allegations about Biden and his family, too disgusting to even repeat here. I mean, some of the ones I've seen from the president's son and some of the president's supporters are just wildly unhinged.
Wildly unhinged. Yet 100% accurate, Jake. You would say that now when it doesn't matter. But what you did was you called Amy a racist. You tried to get her fired. Mm-hmm. What were some of the things having MAGA Barbie in your Twitter handle, what were some of the things you were accused of? Because specifically of people like Jake Tapper in an authoritative position in national media, international media, in Jake Tapper's case, gaslighting people to believe that you were what, Amy?
Yeah. Racist, Nazi, tried to get me fired. Threatened me. I mean, people are insane, absolutely insane, because you dare to point out some questionable behavior. It's just such bullshit. It's such bullshit. And these media companies have such nerve. I saw something today that was like the Washington Post or New York Times or somebody is, calling on Congress to do something so that this never happens again. Who the fuck are you to demand that? Who are you to demand that?
Right.
We demand that of you.
Right. So
it's like
it makes you wonder how much
just one more thing. It's not like they were mute on the issue. Okay?
Right.
It's not like they were mute on it. They were gaslighting us. They were calling us liars. They were saying what you're seeing is not actually happening.
Right.
It's not like they just ignored it.
They destroyed families. Think about it. Think about it. I never had an argument with my brother or sister growing up. Literally not an argument.
Yeah.
We didn't fight as kids. We got along for the most part. I'm sure we had dust-ups, a couple January 6 moments here and there through the years. But for the most part, even when we were older, and certainly now, I went my entire life without so much as having an argument with G or Chris over anything.
Yeah.
And the amount of like ripping my hair out by the roots, like how,
the root,
holy shit. It's because of people like Jake Tapper. How do you fix this? Like Jake Tapper, there probably is a way. Like if you were to come out, and I know none of them will, but if you were to come out and be like, look, I thought Trump was such a danger to the country. I absolutely blew it way out of proportion, scared the shit out of people, well-intentioned people, slandered them horribly. I didn't seem to care. I thought the risk outweighed what I was saying because I thought the existential threat was so strong that it warranted this. The ends justified the means. I recognize that now, and all I can do is crawl into a hole with humility. They want me to keep saying how much humility I'm filled with, and I will do everything in my power for the remainder of my time to try in some fashion to earn back the trust that I have absolutely destroyed for networks.
Right.
Like, not just my own. I destroyed networks' credibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
With this
and
level
like
of gaslighting.
to the networks, you let us worry about Congress. We will petition Congress to take care of it. What you should be telling us is how you're going to make sure this never happens again. That's what I want to hear from you, Washington Post, or whoever the fuck said that.
I think it takes a level of, hi, here at CNN. And I don't know that this matters. Honestly, these are dead entities anyways. But the fact that Jake Tapper is still collecting, I don't know, $5-10 million a year for this shit. Like, if you were to come out and have the head of CNN, it used to be Jeff Zucker, whoever it is now, come out on national TV and go, we've taken the entire lineup and gutted it. We're starting over. That you cannot lose this much trust of the American people. It ends today, not on our watch. There are hundreds, if not thousands of people that risked their life and limb to create the reputation that CNN swore and to uphold for the American people. And these clowns, in a matter of a decade, pissed all over it and threw it away for partisan politics.
Yeah.
And it goes to the level of our hiring practices, who we decided to bring on. And the problem isn't having a panel of people. It's the hosts that I have a problem with. You want to do 5-on-1 and have Scott sit there and kick the shit out of all of them night after night in a 5-on-1, and Fox wants to do the same thing on the other side. Have, like the five, we'll put one libtard up here and we'll let these four kick her tits in.
Yeah.
Like, okay, no problem. You can do that. But it's when you have these hosts that did all the damage, the Jake Tappers, the Anderson Coopers, though, that's where I really have a problem with all this.
Yeah.
You weren't a moderator. Don Lemon was not a moderator. He wasn't,
That's the thing, though. I mean, is like you're expecting the higher ups at these places to have any kind of dignity, and they don't. I mean, that's what they wanted. They didn't put these people on the air thinking that they were telling the truth. Like, they put them on there knowing that they were spewing propaganda, and that's what they wanted because they needed to steal an election. It happened in 2020, and they tried to do it again in 2024, just in a different way. This time, they were going to run Joe Biden's dead ass and then do a bait and switch on us and fucking steal the election that way. And it's
where would we be? Where do you think we would be if they would have been successful in pulling that off?
And then you can't riot about it.
No,
God forbid.
No,
it's just, and I know we've talked about it before, but hindsight being what it is, when you look back at losing in 2020, was probably the best thing that could have happened to the Republican Party, because everybody realized in 2024 that shit had to change. And I don't think that would have happened, had Trump won in 2020. So, I think everything happens for a reason, but to expect any of these people to have accountability is just,
bridge too far.
Yeah, you got a better chance of convicting Karen Reed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. No, it's sad.
It's maddening. I can't stand it.
You know what? That's a good word. It's infuriating is what it is. Like, I would feel so played if the good thing is I saw through these people through my entire career. I don't know if you did, if you had a lot of faith or trust in media. It's been declining since the 70s, when it was at all-time highs. I don't think there was, I could watch 2020 or 60 Minutes or Dateline and be like, wow, cool story. I still didn't have a lot of trust for those people throughout my career in radio. Like, this is so next level. I don't even know how to describe it, but I was already super skeptical. I don't know if you were when you were younger.
No, that pretty much started
2015.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that was when I saw the switch. And the Michael Brown stuff, and I mean all of that. It was all just so eye-opening to see that. And I mean, I think a lot of it was due to, listening to your show and then being like, well, they're not fucking talking about that on the news at night. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. But some of that might even be attributed to my age. I also didn't really give a shit when I was in college. So,
sure.
That could have something to do with it too. But generally, you believed the news, right? Like, generally, you believed the news. Generally, you believed people who are making documentaries. Generally, you believe the police. Generally, you believe that they've got the right guy on trial. Like, generally, you want to have belief in your government and your media and the entities. But that's just gone now.
It's so gone.
And the COVID thing is blowing up, and the vaccine thing's blowing up in everybody's faces too.
Yeah, that has real world consequences too. You know what I mean? Like, it really, like, okay, you wanted to make $1. Yeah. Let's just be honest about what it is. You wanted to make $1 off COVID vaccines. Well, what did that do? You're like, obviously you always want to make $1. You have a fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders and, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And there's probably some level of fuckery you can play in and still keep the majority of people thinking you're an honest, you can get people that speak well and bullshit well. And, you play it between the lines, and you're always going to have the people that go, I don't trust a word that any of them say. Those people exist. And so do the people that believe everything no matter what. But for the most part, we stay in there, and you overplayed your hand on these things. And what did it do? It now makes people like me and you, the rest will catch up later. But it makes you and I go, if you were willing to do that for that,
right?
You changed definitions.
Yeah.
That was in no way a vaccine. That's an mRNA technology.
Right.
You changed. I saw someone making a joke like, yeah, you changed the definition of that's like saying this car is now in the Webster's Dictionary a house. It's like, yeah, but it's still a fucking car.
Right.
Just changing the definition doesn't change what it is.
Right.
You've overplayed your hand. And now I go, oh, well, if you're willing to do it over that for money, then you would absolutely be willing to do it for everything else.
Right.
And I feel the same way with the media. Like, all your stories fall apart. Sorry. Hope it was worth it.
Yep.
Hope getting Joe Biden elected was worth it, was worth all your credibility.
Yeah. Yep. And yes, no, you're so right. And when you lose credibility, it's very, very hard to get that back. And, when you think of the Modernas and the Pfizers, it's like, I don't know what was $1 trillion not enough? You had to make 2 trillion.
Yeah.
You couldn't just make 1 trillion and let us fucking take ivermectin. You had to do this whole thing. Like, because that was in order for them to have the emergency use authorization, which they needed, there couldn't be another viable option out there.
Yeah.
And so they didn't want viable options. It was vaccine or bust. And that is so criminal. It is so criminal.
Yeah.
And like all of these companies have been sued a quadrillion times.
Not now.
And
not on
now
this
we're
one.
just supposed to be like, they're definitely not doing anything shady this time.
Right. And you can't sue them at all. So
right.
Good luck with that.
Ignore the opioid epidemic that happened. Ignore that.
Completely.
Yeah, just ignore that. It's just
hundreds of thousands of people dead over the last decade. Hundreds of thousands of American citizens think they're taking, if you're thinking about fentanyl, for instance, hundreds of thousands. But no, we're going to act like the world's coming to an end because, I don't know, the cops wrongly shot 3 black people over the last decade.
Right.
In weird okay.
Right.
Let's act like the world's ending, yet a literal Vietnam is taking place every year on your own soil in fentanyl that no one seems to care about. Like, you just can't make it make sense. And it just makes you wonder, like, does Jake Tapper not understand? Do these people not understand? Like, oh, you're going to go on the record now and act all like, sincere about your concern about what Hunter Biden represented, and you were as disgusted as all of us were. We're supposed to believe that? Like, no, dude, we have Twitter. We'll just pull the clip from 2 months ago when you were shaming people for that opinion.
When do you think he decided he was going to write this book?
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's the thing. I don't think there's any good answer, because up until, like you said, like 2 months ago, you were denying all this bullshit. So
do you ever think
you knew, and you were already lining up your sources, because guess what? Donald Trump got inaugurated 4 fucking months ago. 4 months ago. So in 4 months, you've managed to gather over 200 sources, vet them, interview them, write a book, get it printed. Fuck all the way off. You have been writing this book, or at least had the intentions to write it, for a lot longer. And so that means you knew something was fucked up. And so for him to say, I didn't really have any sources in the White House. Really? Yeah. You do now. So what, they just were ignoring you for 4 years? And now that they're out of the White House, they're like, okay,
do you think we ever get someone that comes out and goes, you got me? I knew the guy was a train wreck, because what they're doing right now is continuing to gaslight you.
No, because then they'll be out of a job.
But they can go do a podcast, and you bring the tea on something like that. That's
blow the whistle.
You could make real money. You could make
the only way
that
that might happen is if they get a whistleblower that comes and talks in front of Congress and says, yeah, this came from the top. We were told, look the other way.
They'll just spin that
great,
as partisan, though. They'll just spin that as partisan. The
not if it's somebody. Okay, say
mode.
someone from MSNBC is blowing the whistle, and they're like, "Yeah, this was what was happening over there."
Yeah, they're trying to hang on to it still. I'm embarrassed that I didn't notice it. Bullshit. I don't believe that for a second. There's no way you didn't notice that. Not them.
And it's not like they were respectful about it. It's not they were like, respectfully, I disagree. I was just with him the other day in a meeting, and he was on the top of his game. You should have seen him. I could barely keep up with him. It was, you're really qualified to diagnose mental decline? Oh, really? Sounds like you're making fun of his stutter. Oh, I'm sure you really care. Yeah, okay. Like, bitch, why are you so defensive?
Yeah.
Why the fuck are you so defensive?
And then to come out now and be like, for the record, I called Laura Trump. And, why didn't you have that phone call on the air? Like when you shamed her for the world and acted like she was the biggest monster ever, who was making fun of a stutter we just found out existed that didn't exist. You like, was there anything?
Bring her back on the show in the same medium that you shamed her in and apologize.
Exactly. That doesn't count in my book. That doesn't count to make a on the DL
I wish Megyn
phone
Kelly
call
would have said that.
Yeah, right? Like, wait a minute. Whoa. You did that in front of tens of thousands of people on your airways in prime time.
That would have been so funny.
Why wouldn't you put her on now and have the you still have a show. You know that she would absolutely be willing to sit there with her arms folded and go, what did you want to say, Jake, joke, Tapper? What was that? Like, we would all love that clip.
Yeah, he didn't want to do that on the air because he would get burned to the ground.
Yeah,
she would just lay into him, and it would be so embarrassing.
Again, I know Henson is much harder on people than I am with this, because I don't blame the general public as much as I do. These people have the inside and they know what's going on. It's just like you with your household. You know what's going on at your household a lot more than anyone else. You can put up a front, you can spin a story for the rest of the people, even your own family, but inside your home, you kind of know what's going on. If there was some shit going on at Riff back in the day, I would know more than just someone that's driving in their car listening. So the Jake Tappers at CNN, as Megyn Kelly pointed out, 30 years at CNN and inside Washington, D.C. And I stand by that. I think he's got like connections deeper inside the DNC and stuff. I should have looked it up, but I didn't. So there's no chance they wouldn't have known exactly what was going on. You just would, just like you would in your own household. It's very hard to hide that stuff. I think this is interesting. I don't think this goes anywhere. I really don't, but there could be some validity to this. Maybe it's just too hot. We're too close to it in the moment, and it's something for historians to look back on, or, medical students that are just being born now to look at someday. But seeking to look at the origins of Trump derangement syndrome is something that House Republicans want scientists to find out. I would love to know this too. I would love to know. So Representative Warren Davidson from Ohio introduced a bill directing the NIH to conduct or support research to advance the understanding of the phenomenon characterized by intense emotional or cognitive reactions to Trump. The bill is titled the Trump Derangement Syndrome Research Act of 2025, says early documented references emerged during his 2016 presidential campaign, including certain media coverage amplifying polarized responses to his rhetoric. The bill notes that its precise origins remain understudied. One of the objectives is to identify the initial emergence. So they want to know who was patient zero. Can you imagine they found out who patient zero was?
You know who patient zero is in my mind? Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, do you remember? So Rudy Gobert he was in a press conference and he was like touching all the microphones because they were like, he was like, had a cough or something. He's like jokingly touching all the microphones. And then he goes into the locker room. They test him. He has COVID. And that was when the whole world shut down. It was like the NBA shut down and everything shut down after Rudy Gobert was like jokingly like, oh yeah, I've got COVID and I'm like rubbing all the microphones in this press conference. And that wouldn't
have been Trump. That you're talking about COVID. I'm talking about Trump derangement.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the patient zero for COVID.
No. Well, that'd be funny too. Patient zero for COVID is 100% those three doctors.
Wuhan. In Wuhan.
It was probably
patient
the wife.
Zero of Trump derangement. That's funny. Yes. Okay.
Isn't that hilarious? Can you imagine finding?
Boy, who would that be?
Have they ever identified patient zero with like AIDS? Fauci's other claim to fame.
I think they have. Wasn't it?
I know there's always been talk of a monkey or something like that, but I don't know if they've ever been like, yeah, Bill Mahalski here was the first guy to.
Bill Mahalski. Let me see.
So yeah, some people have taken anti-Trump stances to such extremes as warning there is a Trump crime cult wanting people to die, and in Congress offering perpetual impeachment proposals. We've seen all of that. There's also the issue of violence. Last year, the situation took a turn, a couple assassination attempts. Davidson's bill also calls for an inquiry into psychological and behavioral impacts of TDS, contributing factors ranging from media exposure to political polarization, as well as potential interventions, coping mechanisms, and strategies to mitigate it. Like a pill or something. Can you imagine going to your doctor? Like, it sounds funny. Yeah, exactly.
That is hilarious. Yeah, who would it be? God, how did that all start?
Because in the beginning, you had people joking. Remember, like the Stephen Colbert's of the world, like, please run, John Oliver, run. I did. He was a joke. Yeah. I think of what's her name? The blonde that everyone body shames, makes fun of, Ann Coulter, went on Bill Maher's show, and it was like, who do you think's gonna be the Republican nominee? And she's like, I'll be honest with you, I think it's Donald Trump. And the whole place fucking in her face laughs. Have you seen that clip? I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cute and funny to them, like, yeah, go ahead, run that clown. So there was a lot of that early on. Like, he's such a piece of shit. Nobody would vote for him. What a opportunity for us. What a blessing that would be on the left if you ran someone like Donald Trump. And then from there, it leapt to like, holy shit, the guy's like winning this thing. What's going on?
And for me, it had to come from the inside. The government work. Lifetime government employees that do all of the dirty shit that we don't know about and control everything. It was them who, had to get out there and they use the media to do it. That Trump is bad and anything that he does is, we're going to lose our democracy and this and that, and made him out to be a complete villain because he threatened them. He threatened their power.
They go on to say Trump twice. Let's see. Representative Davidson's common sense bill will use already appropriated funds on an NIH study that can make a difference. If passed into law, the legislation would use existing resources, NIH resources, and not require additional spending. Here's the problem on its face. It's kind of like people with drug or alcohol problems. You can't address the problem until you admit there is one.
Yeah.
And so these people don't, like, from what I see, they don't admit, like, shit, I have that. Like, to them, they would say Amy's in a cult. Amy's the cult member.
Totally. Right.
So if it's the first thing in Alcoholics Anonymous, like, you can't take that initial
first step is admitting you have a problem.
Exactly. Admitting you have a problem, or I'm powerless against this, that kind of thing. And whether you know what I'm saying. So for these people, I don't see anybody. I've never met the person. I've issued the challenge on this show dozens of times, like waiting for one person to go, hey man, you know what? I was listening to you guys years ago and I do owe you that apology when I called you all X, Y, and Z because I called you crazy over your beliefs about COVID or about Russiagate. Russiagate's a big one. COVID, there are still people that are like, oh, believe it or not, COVID is, they still pretend that it's, some dangerous thing. So whatever. Russiagate, we know what happened with Russiagate, and it's only going to get worse. The information that comes out about who knew what when and how that was introduced, it was very, 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 very simple to see what was going on in real time. And I don't know if you have, maybe you have, I have never met the person that sent me an email, called me, texted me, DM'd me, and said, dude, I feel like a real horse's ass. I bought it. I don't know why. Yeah. I'm sorry. I called you an asshole. I'm sorry I called you a cult member for, even though you're the cult leader. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you?
No.
Has anyone ever said?
No.
Yeah.
God, no.
I haven't either about any of these things.
Mike,
yeah.
patient 0 for AIDS
Yeah.
Was a Canadian flight attendant named Gaetan Dugas.
He was identified.
Yeah, GAE with those 2 dots above it. TAN.
Oh, yeah.
Gaetan was identified as having multiple sexual partners who later developed AIDS. Dugas was given the label patient 0 in 1983, suggesting he was the initial source of the infection. However, subsequent research has cast doubt on this theory. Genetic analysis has shown that HIV was circulating in the U.S. and other parts of the world before Dugas was infected. It is now believed that Dugas was simply one of the early cases of HIV and not the original source of the epidemic.
Yeah,
so, I don't know. I think we can still blame him.
Yeah, I'd be okay if you pinpointed, like, is that him? Oh, he does look Gaetan.
Yeah, Gaetan,
yeah, the mustache,
the flight attendant.
Gaetan. Yeah.
He died at
that's
31.
Funny. 31. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be hard to pinpoint. Like, I feel like patient 0 of the AIDS thing would be easier to pinpoint. AIDS. I didn't give him those. And when he had those AIDS, I went to my synagogue and I prayed for him. I think it'd be easier to pinpoint. I feel like the Trump derangement people like all blossomed overnight from watching the same things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't one guy that got sick with something. They all kind of developed it, and then it just got increasingly worse.
Look no further than Washington, D.C., from where that all started, because it started from the elite and it trickled its way down through the media to everybody else.
Those people were covering their ass, not wanting to let an outsider inside the ropes.
Yeah.
Those people were playing a dangerous game and using the population to win. They ginned them up. They gaslit them.
Yeah.
So those people didn't have derangements in them. They knew exactly what they were doing. Washington, D.C.
But that's where it started, though. Like, that's where the plan hatched. That's where, I mean, it's a
Hillary
way
Clinton.
of
Hillary Clinton.
It's a propaganda. You know, it works. We do it in other countries. What makes you think we're not doing it here?
Sure. I would say Hillary Clinton started that, lit that match.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton and her team started that, which led to the dossier, which kind of sprung everything.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more about that, which we should be hopefully hearing more about soon. They said that they found out a lot of info about Crossfire Hurricane and Russiagate and all the bullshit that happened leading up to that. So,
yeah, I don't know. Have you seen all the heat coming down on Bongino and Patel and them?
I have.
What do you think?
I think that especially Bongino, you know, and I really like Dan Bongino a lot. But for as outspoken as he was, to just come out and say, I saw the file, Epstein killed himself. And that's it. It's like,
not good enough, man.
You kind of sound like you're towing the company line. If that's the case, show it to us. If he just killed himself, what's the big fucking deal? Show it to us.
Yeah.
And then it won't be a question anymore. But for you, when you're sitting there for years banging that drum of, you know, something happened, for you to just sit there and go, I saw the file. He killed himself. It's like, okay, that's it.
The interesting thing is Dan Bongino was very careful with his words on the Dan Bongino show. He never said like me recklessly. I often was like, bullshit, that no chance that dude killed himself. Dan, because of his background, Secret Service, New York police officer, he was very careful when he talked about this, about it's possible he committed suicide. But Dan, you know, the reason people loved him was this idea of, I've been behind the scenes and I know how this works. You cannot just be like, take my word for this, which is kind of what they're asking for. The one that is breaking my heart is Kash Patel. Like, that was the one I was, more than Pam Bondi, more than any of them, was like, I want that dude. That's my guy. Talked a lot of game. The word is, and I don't know why this wouldn't be a problem. You're in there now. You're the top. You're the shit, right? It's not like, oh, if we ever get our day inside those walls, we're releasing everything. You as an American public have a right to know what was going on, right?
Right.
You're there now. I don't want to hear anymore. I don't know what's going on. Word is Glenn Beck did a great breakdown of this, and he's got people that he trusts vehemently behind the scenes inside those walls. And he was parsing his words and was careful about it. But it sounds like when I believe it was PBS reported, the hallway camera in that jail cell where Epstein was, that doesn't exist. Yeah, the guys fell asleep. They were the two guards fell asleep in each other's arms or something for 3 hours right at the moment he killed himself. And wouldn't you know it, the cameras malfunctioned and they didn't work. So they didn't have a camera in that cell and they didn't have a camera in that hallway. Word is there was a camera in that hallway and there's a tape of it. And what it shows is no one went into that room and no one came out of that room at the time of death. That's what the word is. So I don't know if that's and that would make sense. If Kash Patel and Dan Bongino did their Sunday morning interview with Maria, whatever, or whoever I think it was a Fox News Sunday morning interview where they said that. I don't know why you couldn't come out and say, hey, we're going to get the evidence to you as fast as we can. It's on its way to the Capitol now or to Congress now. And once, they dot I's and cross T's, you'll see it. But here's what you're going to see.
Here's what you're going to see. Exactly. Yes.
And you and I would go, okay, I trust their word. They haven't done anything to destroy their credibility with me yet.
Right. Exactly. Like, just keep us updated. For you to just sit there and say that is like, okay, based on fucking what? Based on what? And, the same thing where they're like, well, dude, there's a lot of documents and we have to redact out the information. And there's a lot of, but the only thing you better be fucking redacting out are names. You better not be releasing
sources,
pages and pages of documents blacked out because they're all redacted. And that's just it. If the video shows nothing, fucking release it. What's the problem? What's the problem? We're
even
all big boys and girls, we can see it.
Yeah,
and which goes to my theory of that doesn't mean that there still wasn't fuckery.
Oh yeah,
he should have never been in that situation to be able to kill himself, but I'm sure he did. Why wouldn't
we're still uncertain about paper sheets or not, right?
Right.
Steven Crowder did
what happened.
Yeah, Steven Crowder did a breakdown. By the way, I was talking about that. Is the hyoid or hyoid bone? There's like 3 bones in the neck. Steven Crowder did this a couple of years ago, trying to do that with a sheet. Okay, and he recreated a set and tried. He was wearing a mask and a helmet and something that was gauging the pressure on the neck to see if he could even work up the pressure to break those bones in the neck by himself, and needed help from someone to lift his legs to get up the strength to do it. So this idea that was possible just by himself would be really hard to generate the poundage, 55 pounds of pressure on these bones required to strangle yourself and do the damage that was done. But I don't know.
Honestly, I would, and I mean, obviously this is just my experience and mine only, and I would tend to agree with you if the person who took my niece wouldn't have done the exact same thing in Oakland County Jail. I would have believed the same thing. I mean, yeah, you can't do that, but he hung himself in jail with a bedsheet. And so, it obviously can happen.
Sure.
And so, I before that probably wouldn't have believed that, but I think, whether it was, hey, this is how you do it, this is how, and you're going to do it on this day, and we're going to make sure you're in the right cell, and we're going to make sure you're not on suicide watch anymore, and you're going to have plenty of fucking sheets, and you'll have a nice meal, your last meal, and then the guards are going to go to sleep, and you're going to do it.
And you're gonna look under your where your pillow is on your mattress, and you're gonna find a nice razor blade.
Yeah.
And it turned out he slid it. Like, there could be anything, because you're right. We don't know. But if they just explain that, like, he was supposed to be on suicide watch. I know he was removed, but he was still using paper sheets. And someone 3 days earlier gave that guy, slipped in some regular sheets. Like, it could be nefarious. We have no idea. Like, you have one option, son of a bitch. We can murder everyone in your family on the outside, every niece, cousin, friend you've ever had, or you could take this sheet we're going to leave in there in a couple days, and I think you could figure out what to do with it. Those are your options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
that could be, and we don't know anything about it. And then you also have the hallway, and that would all line up. And Bongino and Patel come out and go, "We've seen the video, guys. We've seen the video. We'll show you the video." No one went in and out of that room. He was alive at 7 a.m. When they came at 3 o'clock, he was dead. And between that window of time, no one came in or out of that room. We've seen that. They haven't destroyed their credibility with me yet. Right? If Jake Tapper said that to me, I wouldn't be able to take that on his face.
No.
That's the problem with where we are right now. And I think you would agree.
Yeah, no, for sure. But what I also want to know is, what irritates me is, okay, maybe it was a complete innocent mistake. Like, the guards fell asleep and what the fuck ever happened, and he just was allowed to kill himself, and nobody really did anything wrong, regardless of if anyone did something intentionally wrong, which I think that they probably did. But even if they didn't, most adults and most companies, when something goes catastrophically wrong, they use it as a chance to regroup, figure out what they learned, and make sure it doesn't happen again. So tell me how this is going to be prevented the next time there's a Jeffrey Epstein in your cell block. I want to know this isn't going to happen. What are you doing? Are you going in there every 15 minutes to make sure he's alive? What the fuck did you learn from this that you're changing?
There's, with Jeffrey Epstein, it's the most high profile prisoner in the world, probably at that point, right?
Yes.
Like, can you think of another prisoner at that time? White hot story. International, talking about powerful people, elites, and you have this guy, and we were joking at the time. Yeah, I bet he Clintons himself. Ha ha ha. Like, that was it was so obvious. I guarantee you can find tape of us making jokes like that. Like, he's in custody. He's definitely gonna suicide in prison. And then it happens like 3 days later. Insane.
Right.
I would say it's not past the realm of possibility at all in my mind that guards would fall asleep. That could be their routine.
Yeah.
That I come to work, and you, like, outside of crazy stuff happening someday at work, most people go to work and it's kind of routine. It's the same thing, especially if you have a job where there's not a lot of activity and you can go long hours, especially when you get into the overnight shift, graveyard shift, where it's like, I'm just here to make sure if all of a sudden someone's here. I just have to pull the lever when happens. And other than that, I'm reading a book. I'm sitting here making sure that everything seems kosher. Those guys dozing off doesn't surprise me. It could be, embarrassing for the state setup, but it wouldn't shock me at all if it was like, yeah, Pete and Phil, they crash out all the time. Come 2 in the morning, they doze off for an hour, and then they do some Amazon shopping.
Yeah.
They do some Google searches. They're trying to keep themselves awake. I know it's a penitentiary, but that wouldn't shock me. It's kind of like people wanted to kick the teeth into that trans person who was in the Tesla or whatever, or one of those self-driving early on, and ran over someone on a bicycle. Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh, you got to be paying attention, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it was easy to key in on the trans aspect because you got this dude in a wig, and lipstick, and, in a self-driving car kills someone. It's like, yeah, they're mentally insane. What did you expect? It's like, yeah, dude, you get comfortable with that thing just kind of be going through its routine, and you let your guard down.
Yeah, yeah.
And prisoners would be preying on that, just like the ones that made the jailbreak in Louisiana or wherever, New Orleans. recently, preying on the system going through what it goes through and then looking for that window of opportunity. You got nothing but planning time.
Right.
So, I don't know. It seems like an easy one for those guys to clear up, and hopefully they do.
Never forget these.
What do you got? Yeah. Yeah.
Craziest paintings ever.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton in a blue
dress and high heels,
pointing at someone, and George Bush next to Jenga towers that have fallen down in a paper airplane. And
so
reportedly owned by Jeffrey Epstein.
I've never seen that Bush one, so that's supposed to be obviously 9/11 related. Planes
the two towers, the Jenga, and the paper airplane.
And then obviously that's Monica Lewinsky's dress, is what the blue dress, right?
Right.
Or is that Miss Heinrich's blue dress, or was it Monica's?
Well, I associate it with Monica. I don't know, I guess, whose it was, but
no, it was Miss Heinrich's sink. The blue dress. Yeah, the blue dress was Monica.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so would that be funny? I'm trying to think of like,
yeah, it's funny if you're not Jeffrey Epstein.
No, I know, but I'm trying to think, because these are friends, right? These are friends of yours. Like, you and I have a friendship.
Yeah.
If I were to make something about you that is like, hey, remember that time that story blew up and it was a big embarrassment to you? If I had some cartoonish drawing painting made and displayed it behind me, kind of funny, super inappropriate, but who knows what kind of sick.
It's true.
I've never seen that George Bush one though.
Yeah.
That's wild, dude.
I know.
I don't like this because all of this conspiracy stuff, I've tried to avoid so much. That 9/11 one, I stand by. The Spare Change documentary is bullshit. It just, I watched it and it was just like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's like The Secret. Like, stop. Just stop. Yeah. It's silly. I don't know about 9/11, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know who knew what when, but I am starting, like, that Building 7 makes no fucking sense. None.
No, that's a big question. That's a big question.
I was watching something the other day on...
And you'll never convince me that they didn't shoot down Flight 93. They 100% shot that down.
Yeah. I don't want to dive into it. I don't want to be Alex Jones. I don't want to go to that place. I want to hold
Well, you're not saying it didn't happen. I mean, it happened. It's just who knew what when, like you said.
Yeah. That would be... Like, is it possible that you're at that level of elitism, like, we need to, we're going to lose a couple thousand people, but we need a splash. We need something to really get the country. But dude, that rallied the country like nothing in my lifetime before or since.
You'll never get me to believe that George Bush knew about it. I mean, that was a man who was stunned at what was happening when someone whispered that into his ear. I don't think George Bush knew that was going to happen. But what I think is, this is when you start to get into, the defense contractors like the Raytheons and, the people who benefit from war are generally the ones who, they're the ones that are behind it. So I don't think George Bush necessarily knew, like he, concocted this master plan. I mean, he was just the dumbass that was in charge when it happened, but and that was right into his presidency too. I mean, that was like the first year of his presidency.
Yeah.
But I do think that you see this even just in local cases. It's like, the local cops are trying to solve a case and the feds come in and there's this big dick measuring contest about whose case it's going to be. And, the local cops know better. No, the feds know better. It's kind of like that where the FBI 100% knew shit. The CIA knew shit. Neither of them communicated with each other. They didn't share the intel that they had because it's my case. No, it's my case. Well, how about the fact that both of you fuckers, generally your organizations, knew that this was going to happen, and neither of you talked to each other because you were just too busy measuring your dicks.
Well, I found that impossible to believe in 2001. I mean, ineptitude.
Could have never comprehended it in 2001.
No, couldn't comprehend it. But then you think of like they were absolutely willing, like myocarditis, who gives a shit? So we lose this percentage of the population that's maybe a little older, maybe like it's crystal clear now. This thought that I just had, like someone smarter and a better person than me is, thank God, in charge of this and not me making tough decisions. And they're obviously looking out for your health. That's what this is about. So when you look at COVID, it's like, it's becoming clearer and clearer. Like, oh yeah, not only do they not care about your health, this is strictly about profits. And so what I put it past the Raytheons of the world, the Lockheed Martins of the world, in concert with the BlackRocks of the world that own trillions and trillions of dollars. And how do those people keep profits going up? Well, an easy way is to make a big splash event happen that, guess what? You're the only people capable of coming in to save the day when we need to go defend a democracy and freedom. At that point, like, trillions of dollars have been spent, trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. How much was spent on COVID? How much was made? Upward transfer of wealth, trillions at this point.
Right.
Like,
right.
It's sad. It's insane. I don't know. They released the internet on the world. I don't think they ever thought it would go this wide, right? Like,
right.
The internet was government run, government owned, started at one point. I don't think they ever fathomed this kind of reach and connectability with the people to, a couple batshit people in this corner of the country, or batshit people in this wing of the country, or this militia group in that part of the country. Yeah, they can't do any damage because they're just a handful of people in spotty places. Yeah. Now you can't go 30 seconds. It's why I say you need to sweep the slate clean at CNN. You can't put Jake Tapper up as a respected voice in the media landscape anymore.
Right.
It's almost the same with like pharmaceutical companies and all these other groups.
Yeah.
Like we've seen behind the curtain. I mean, this truly is the emperor has no clothes. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I just saw that Drew Lane posted on X, R.I.P. Jimmy. I hope to hear many great stories in the days ahead. Jimmy had many great friends through football, rock and roll, and just life. My favorite way to measure him is versus his father. My best to his family, kids, and his many friends. If this doesn't trend, I'll be surprised. Hashtag R.I.P. Jim Irsay.
Yeah, I would recommend listening to the Drew Lane show tonight, tomorrow, whatever. He'll probably, stories. Yeah, I know. I loved hearing some of the stories about, those guys getting all fucked up when they were teenagers and and just being disrespectful, 3 a.m, calling up the fucking chef to make them fillets.
Yeah.
Waking up the chef and stuff. And then Jim Irsay Sr. getting all mad and, screaming at these guys like, stop abusing the fucking chefs at 3 a.m. to make your lazy, drunk, high asses fillets. You could just imagine,
Yes.
So, I can't wait to talk to him about it. That's funny.
Yeah.
Should we do? Yeah, we got a little bit of time left. More than a couple weeks after Trump announced 100% tariffs on movies produced outside the United States, Mayor Karen Bass is coming out now and issued an executive order on Tuesday that says she will cut red tape and make it easier for entertainment professionals to film in her city. Why you would ever make it difficult for people to film in Hollywood is just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. Didn't work out well for us when we did that here.
No, I still think, look at Georgia.
Yeah, right.
Think about how many TV shows you watch that end with the Georgia peach down at the bottom.
Yeah.
And whatever. They are filming so much shit in Georgia.
Yeah.
That's become the movie capital almost of America.
Yeah.
Yep. And it should have been Michigan. Think about what Michigan has in its locations between bodies of water and woods and you have all settings in Michigan, winter settings,
empty factories that could be used, built into movie studios and
the land, the inexpensive land.
Who ended that? Was that the guy before Whitmer that ended that, or was that Whitmer that ended that?
I don't know. Like, why you wouldn't want extreme tax breaks. Think about where Detroit was.
I know.
Think about all the burned out buildings and all the land that was being sold for pennies on the dollar.
I know.
Like, let them come in and clean it up and build it. Like, you'd have so much leverage just based on the value of the land alone.
I know.
It doesn't make any sense. I still don't. I mean, they filmed Batman there. They filmed they filmed what else was Wizard of Oz was filmed there, or the Yellow Brick, whatever that was, the newer one, obviously not the one in the 20s, 30s, but shit, I don't remember.
Wasn't that George Clooney movie filmed at the airport?
Which one?
That one.
Which movie are you talking about?
It was him and Anna Kendrick, and it was filmed at Detroit DTW. What was it called? Up in the Air.
God, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it was filmed at it was filmed at the new the Delta terminal when it was like first opened.
Okay, my favorite terminal. What's the name of it? Why can't I think of the name of it? I'm flying in there in a couple weeks. The Delta terminal.
Oh,
starts with an M.
Yeah, McNamara.
McNamara, yeah. Was it while they were building it or something? I don't remember seeing that movie. Batman v Superman was filmed in Detroit.
Yep.
That one was?
It was.
So the move comes after production has shifted dramatically towards different locations outside LA, including US-based filming spots in foreign countries where it's cheaper and easier. Duh. We are going to fight now, Karen Bass said. Too late, sweetheart. While we push for the tax credits to be passed in Sacramento, we need to do what we can today to impact building in Los Angeles. The city is taking bold action to support our legacy industry. Keeping entertainment production in LA means keeping good paying jobs in LA, and that's what we're fighting for. Specific popular locations in LA, which she says will be easier for filmmakers to access, including the Griffith Observatory, the LA Central Library, the Port of Los Angeles, among others, also reduces the number of city employees who must be on site during filming down to 1. Yeah. Trump said Hollywood was dying a very fast death, calling incentives from other countries to produce movies outside the United States a national security threat. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood's being devastated. Blah, blah, blah. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting 100% tariff on any movies made coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. Yeah, I don't. This is a couple things. First off, Karen Bass, that's hilarious. You can't force people to film in LA.
Yeah, right.
Like, you can incentivize them.
Right.
What are you going to do to force people to film it out? They film wherever the fuck they want.
Right.
What this reminds me of is what LA did in the 80s when, like, Seattle had a music scene, Motown had a music scene in their day. LA had the Sunset Strip in the 80s. You know, you can hate the genre, whatever, but that's what it was. And they started doing pay to play. So it wasn't good enough to just have packed clubs every night with the hottest music scene on earth. You started to say, oh, you want to play at the Whiskey? It costs $700 a night to play here. So that sort of shit drove music scenes elsewhere. Where it's like, yeah, we'll go up to Seattle. We'll just go up to Seattle where they pay us $100 and give us free beer to play here. We don't have to do a food drive to go play on your stage.
Right.
And LA has kind of done that with the movie scene. Like, you had an exclusivity on the movie industry. The other thing I would say about this is, even with the best of intentions, this is such a Band-Aid on a situation that needs a tourniquet. Like, sorry. Like, You're not going to need actors in 5 years. You're not going to need fucking any of these people in 5 years.
Right,
Sorry.
Exactly.
Like handful of people, maybe.
Right.
Like, no, kids are going to be making Hollywood type movies on their iPhones in their backyard anywhere USA.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll use AI and Apple services to do it.
Yep.
Simple as that. So I don't know what Karen Bass thinks. Like, sorry, sweetheart, you should have been groveling to have these companies. People have built studios elsewhere now, and they're stopping the building of these studios at this point, going, yeah, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, who's going into coding nowadays? Like, the writing's on the wall.
Code.
Learn to code, right, Ames?
Yep. Learn to code. Mike, some movies that were formed here: Transformers, Batman v Superman, Gran Torino.
Gran Torino was. Which Karate Kid?
2010 looks like. 8 Mile.
Yeah.
Up in the Air.
Yeah.
The Dilemma. Looks like a couple Transformers movies. Real Steel. Also,
have you said all the big ones out? I'm terrible with movie names. I just am. Dude, they were just getting started, it felt like, in Detroit.
Yeah, those were like 2008 to 2010, 2011. That was when those movies were released.
I'm putting you on the spot, but wasn't there one that was slated to film in Detroit that was going to be massive and probably?
Yeah, I feel like there was.
Yeah, wasn't there one that
like one of the blockbuster movies, like Deadpool or something?
Yeah, they did. Then they removed the tax incentive.
Yeah,
or got into a squabble about it, and they were like, "Nah, fine, we'll film in Georgia."
Yeah,
something like that. I can't remember what it was. Where was 8 Mile filmed? I know some of it was in Detroit. I want to say some of that was in Toronto, though.
Oh, I have no idea.
Because there's a lot of stuff being filmed in Toronto too.
Yeah, well, that was in 2002. I mean, I think that most of that was filmed here because it was about here.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but I mean, it would have been easy. I mean, he lives here.
Yeah.
Mike, I just saw something come across my phone from ESPN, and I think you'll get a kick out of this.
What is it?
Olympic-style event in 2026 to feature PED usage. A new company hoping to infuse unprecedented levels of science, money, and performance-enhancing drugs into Olympic-style sports, saying it will hold its first formal competition May 2026 in Las Vegas.
Yeah. What's the name of it? There's two guys running this.
In the enhanced games.
The enhanced games, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, they don't give a shit what you do.
I like it.
Yeah. Like, let's see what we can do.
I think it was Daniel Tosh who said this many years ago, but give me the best athlete science can make.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, what? I don't give a, if you don't care about doing that to your body, I certainly don't care.
No. I want to see home runs. I want to see home runs leave the atmosphere.
Exactly.
Like, come on, man. Dude, what was better for baseball? The pre-Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa days, or post?
Right.
Dude, it was captivating. It was must watch. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, who cares if these almost not human beings juice themselves up? It's why I didn't bust Lance Armstrong's ball over this. Because it was like, yeah, dude, the whole everybody's doing it. Like, you can't compete if you're not juiced up. Right. So what?
Right.
I want to see him race up and down a mountain in France. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want him to get tired.
I saw these guys do an interview about these enhanced games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what they're also doing, because the Olympics is a giant racket, by the way. They don't pay any of these athletes at all. These guys are doing like candy bar drives to be able to fly themselves to the games. And you're supposed to be a world-class track athlete. Like, it makes no sense. So they're going to pay these guys. These athletes are going to be paid like real money.
Sweet.
That was the interview I heard a couple of years ago. Hell yeah, these guys are going to be paid, and hell yeah, we're going to get like real contracts with them and see what these guys are capable of if they kind of tweak themselves. And you and your doctor can kind of juice yourself however you want, and may the best man win.
Mad scientist win.
It'll turn from the NBA versus the WNBA like that. If it's like you're seeing people leap from center court dunking the ball, it's like, ooh, look at that dunk from 1 feet away from the rim. That was cool. Like, nah, dude, we'll want to see people jumping out of the gym. It'll be like Space Jam. Monsters.
That was another thing that was voted on today, Mike, is that the NFL owners voted that the players could play in the Olympics in flag football.
Okay,
and
the players must have really wanted that.
They did. It was unanimous. And I saw someone on one of the social medias saying, why do they just assume they're going to make it? And it's like, hey, my guy, FYI, FYI, you're not beating anyone from the NFL in flag fucking football. Okay. Stop it. Stop
Hilarious. I love when people think that.
Oh, I'm going to beat out Jared Goff for, the quarterback in the Olympics. Yeah. Okay, dickhead. Why don't you beat out Jared Goff in the NFL then?
Yeah, I would be able to do it as good, but a helmet doesn't quite fit quite right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Also, how embarrassing if we lose to I don't know,
Spain.
Zimbabwe or something.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
NBA does that too. And then it's like, they start off slow and it's like all the NBA players are playing for Team USA and then they just end up fucking demolishing everybody.
Well, where else in the world are premier NFL athletes coming from? Like, you can talk about Europe and other countries with basketball, but there's a handful of guys coming out of.
Yeah, they're going to have to be like rugby players.
Yeah, but even those guys, when they make it to the show.
Well, that's why Team USA is going to fucking dominate. And it's going to be all NFL players.
Yeah,
not
but who would you
Joe
even have?
Schmo sitting on his couch.
No, obviously.
Why isn't the NFL? Why do all the NFL players think they're going to make it?
No, totally. But there's going to be Spain's going to have to field the team. So is France.
Yeah, but it's going to be one of those situations where it's like if you have like the longest of long ancestors that was born there, you can play. You're in the NFL and you can play for Mexico or you can play for where the fuck ever.
They're already doing that. Like the 49ers keep playing in Mexico City. Probably because they're on the West Coast. So some teams go to Europe. The Niners and Cardinals keep going down to Mexico City. And I noticed like Fred Warner has a Mexican flag on his helmet during those games. So there's some lineage to Mexico in Fred. And it's like, oh, is Fred Warner going to play on the Mexican team?
Probably. They need to put somebody on the Mexican team.
Yeah.
Fred Warner's it's just like, Jokic plays for whatever fuck country he's from.
Yeah, but Jokic is from there. Don't give me this lineage bullshit. Fred Warner and his parents and his grandparents are from here.
Players do that. Like, oh, so-and-so's playing for France. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck do you ever do in France?
Nothing. No, the one, who was it? The snowboarder chick who played for China this year. And of course, she was like Michael Jordan of the sport. It's like, bitch, you're from California. Don't give me this.
Yeah, they recruited you.
Yeah. Don't get out of here. Go win all the golds.
Yeah.
And, Team China, get out of here.
I'm sure, like well, I don't think Russia can even play in the Olympics, but whoever, the China's probably going to be ringing up some athletes going, you want to come play on our flag football team? We'll get you citizenship.
Russia or China would?
Yeah. China's going to because they can't put together a football team.
Yeah, but who wants Chinese citizenship?
Well, I think you have to have some sort of citizenship to and that's not the only thing they're going to give them. I mean, obviously they're going to pay them, but China has to recruit some American players to play on their team.
Yeah. No, it'll probably be like USA, the Dream Team. It'll probably be 20 years of absolute ass whoopings.
Yes.
Before they start being able to field a team somewhere.
And I can't wait. For some reason, there's just something really enjoyable about putting 100 points on some, country in flag football. Fucking Justin Jefferson's just jumping over everybody. And I don't know. It sounds
Do you have any idea how dominant that would be? I
can't wait.
Of all sports.
I know.
Any of the pro leagues, like baseball, Cuba would beat the shit out of America
America
you know
never
what I mean?
does
Like,
well in the World Baseball Classic.
right, exactly. But in football,
yeah, right.
Like, and that was my point is like, how many, because there's a couple like linemen. There's the kid the Lions drafted, I think, is from somewhere in Africa and just started playing football a few years. Like, there's a handful of guys that have done that are kind of projects where it's like, I don't know, he's a mountain of a man. He's just only been playing football like a week. So, let us get real coaching with him and we'll see where this goes. There's some of those experiments taking place, but there's not like some, I mean, burner out there that's like, oh yeah, wait till this kid from, wherever in the world gets to the bigs. Like, I can't think of any. There's like nothing.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, that'll be dominant. All right, let's do a couple emails and we'll call it a day, Ames. And we'll do a member show tomorrow, patreon.com/TDC Podcast. We try to do one a week. What we usually do, as long as I'm here and not suffering horribly with mouth issues. So we will see members tomorrow. I should mention this part of the show is brought to you by your insurance expert. Are you paying too much for health insurance? Are you uninsured? Health insurance can be very confusing. We all know this. Nick Matthews from Your Insurance Expert is an expert in health insurance, life insurance, and Medicare supplements, so you don't have to be. Call Nick today at 248-914-1173. Thank you, Nick. Much appreciated. I can't stress it enough. You will do yourself a favor if you call Nick and let him take care of your insurance needs. James says, a week? Math is not your strong suit, cult leader. Last regular show, 5/6/25. Today's show, 5/20/25. That equals 20 minus 6 equals 14 days. 1 week equals 7 days. 14 days equals 2 weeks. Yeah, I was trying to do, so he's trying to claim I missed 2 full weeks.
No.
And that's
is
just
that because
wrong.
Is that because we were in Dallas?
No, it's the week after. No, what he's talking about is I wasn't planning. None of this was on the books. If you remember, my very first appointment for this whole thing was supposed to be like this week. And the instruction was call me if there's an opening. And so they called me on that like Wednesday. Right. And so it threw off everything. And then we're on such different time schedules. I can't show up here at 9:00 at night and expect you to be available at midnight. Like, it just doesn't work. So it screwed up that Wednesday, which is probably so the 6th must have been that Tuesday or something when we did a regular show. I noticed he says regular show. So we did do a member show the next day. And then I went in on Monday and then missed that whole week. So he's sort of right. I know what he means, but
actually, and I feel like one of those days was my fault. I think I was not feeling well.
I like that.
On the 7th, maybe, I feel like. One of those days I wasn't feeling well. And then you were like, we'll just do a member show.
Yeah. It's so long ago, I don't remember now.
Possibly it was partially my fault as well.
Could be. We're doing our best, I promise.
Yeah.
Cult leader, when will the Detroit Cast store reopen, John? Yeah, there's so many things on the list. John, I'm sorry. This was supposed to just be handled like it's here. If you want something, just go buy it. Click on, radiofor1.com. Go there and use. I still hope people use the Amazon link. All of that little stuff helps. My Pillow, use promo code TDC. You're an asshole. All of that stuff should still be active. We really appreciate you using it. Every little bit helps, including, I need to sit down with Amy at some point and other people that are smarter than me and figure out a plan for merch. By the way, I got my first look at Drew Lane's new merch that's coming. There's some cool shit coming from that side of the podcast world as well. So yeah, we need to get back up on that. It's been hard with the move. I'm sorry. I move at my own pace and it's not always in the best interest of me or anyone else. I know this about myself. I struggle with this. I apologize, believe me, if you guys are interested in merch, like Amy's fancy mug right there, which is dope. I'd like all of you guys to have that stuff. You've been very, very supportive over the years, and can't tell you how much all that means and how cool it is to see people wearing that stuff. So I will try and get back on that. Your book, write it already. Don't be a pussy. Out everyone. Fuck them. So I was talking about when I was interviewing Dave Landau about I had thoughts of writing a book, and then I was like, I don't know, it'd be hard. First off, I'm lazy, and secondly, like there's just some stuff you probably I wouldn't be able to talk about. So that's what he's referencing. Book. Hey, Mike, I'd read that book. Well, I'd listen to the audio versions. I can't actually read, but either way, I'd be interested. Yeah. Well, thank you. Oh my God, you hippies. You cut the line in New York, then you fell for that made up shit displays, and now you're all pro-Jew, made up conspiracy of the Holocaust. Oh, God.
Yeah. Okay.
They're out there, man. James,
Crazy.
he's been a loyal listener for a long time, but hey, I don't tell people what to believe. I went to the Statue of Liberty and it was fucking amazing. Maybe the whole thing was a facade. Maybe it was all just a Hollywood production. I don't know, man. It was really cool to see. And if you believe in your country and you love America as much as I do, as much as Amy does, it's breathtaking to see in person, to drive up to it in your boat and then tour the island and go through all the stuff. I love that stuff as I've gotten older. I love I definitely want to do an East Coast trip and go kind of into the Commonwealth and visit Philadelphia and DC. I want to do all that stuff as I get older. I never cared when I was younger, but I do now. And so let's see. You guys are becoming the podcast arm of MSNBC.
Yeah,
do we sound like the podcast arm of MSNBC? I think it's the E-Tard's influence.
Yeah, clearly.
His libtardedness is rubbing off on you guys. Stop having him on and bring back Garrett ASAP. He might have mental problems when it comes to where genitals go, but otherwise, he brings some balance to the show that he thinks the warden's influencing me. Jesus Christ, these people. All right, we'll hold the rest. Walters at DetroitCast.com. Walters with an O, of course. And send your emails. Love hearing from you guys. Send them to the hole too. So not a hole, by the way. It's you should be so offended by that, by the traditional hole. If I was you, if I was Trudy, I'd be horribly offended by that. But I it's still funny.
Yeah, nothing can offend me.
That's why we like you.
Not much, at least.
Well, have a great night, Ames. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for listening. We certainly appreciate it. Members, we will see you tomorrow. Again, patreon.com/TDC Podcast.